Okay, so I decided that it was time for me to do a veggie garden update because I have not done any update for YouTube. I have on my website, but I have not done any update for the season, and we're getting, we're already getting heading towards the end of July. So I figured I would bite the bullet and do it today. I have two sweet bell peppers growing here. They are huge, lush. I've not done any pruning besides minimal at the base for old yellowed leaves or just leaves that were dragging in the straw. So on this plant, it's interesting. I found the bell peppers to be really quite different in the way they unfold. This one over here, the peppers come in like a deep purple. So I have one right here. I have another over here. One of the first peppers to come in, they're actually turning red now. These were the first two. I have another here. Ooh, I have another here. There's a little one. And then I have one here, but they come in like a deep purple color. And then, but with this plant here, interesting variation, they all come in green. So my desire is to let them redden up because I would prefer red peppers, the sweeter flavor. So I'm going to allow them to do their thing and just kind of hang out on the plants, keep them watered and fed. And that's been about it. The peppers by far were my most enjoyable. Started these in January. Here is my one Serrano chili pepper. I have a few that are turning red here. There's another one down there somewhere. But this one has branched out all over the place. There are peppers all over. And again, with this, I will harvest one or two if I want some, like for a stir fry, or if I'm making an omelet for the kids, and just to spice it up or add a little extra flavor. But for the most part, I want these to redden, so I'm going to leave them on and let them do their thing. In the back here, I have 3 tomatoes growing, and by God, I wanted so many more tomatoes. I had probably like 9 or 10 plants, but the reality is that I'm on the deck container gardening, and so I had to eliminate and narrow it down. And so the Super Sweet 100 is the center plant. That one I started from seed. This is the Cherokee purple that I did a really big pruning this past weekend because we had some water, some rain, and one of the main stems was just kind of leaning, growing this way, and so there's like a split down here by the base that got me a little bit nervous. I didn't even realize it had split. So I just said, okay, let me just take the tomatoes. The tomatoes were huge. Took the tomatoes off and decided to just leave it alone. So I'm gonna let this do what it does. I think there may be, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 more tomatoes on here, but I did harvest about 7. So it was it was doing its thing, producing. So this is the Cherokee purple. I do have some marigold down here planted with it in basil. And with the Super Sweet 100, I had alyssum planted down in the bottom, but when I did a topping up with compost, it got a little buried. So, but these have been producing like crazy. We've been enjoying the cherry tomatoes. And then here is the early girl. This one I got from the nursery. It was a pack of 4, literally like 99 cents. And so I hated the idea of throwing away the extras, but I just didn't have the space. So this is loaded with fruit. I have probably harvested about 5 or 6 of the, maybe 3 to 5. 3 to 5 tomatoes already I usually clip them off when they start blushing. I don't usually keep them on unless one ends up hidden and I don't, I can't find it, but for the most part, yeah, this is what is happening here. And this one I have planted also with some marigold. Can't really see down there. Some marigold and a basil plant down in the bottom. So those are the peppers and the tomatoes. I do have some strawberries here. These are ever-bearing. They've had their first huge flush, I want to say more towards the ending of June. This was a bare root pack that I got, so it's just starting to like push out flowers and whatnot, but these were transplants that I got from the local nursery. I think these are Ruby Ann. And so we've been harvesting off of these here and there. But I need a ton more strawberry plants to be able to have a regular harvest. So here I have some chives. These are some chives and more sweet alyssum. I did interplant my peppers with nasturtium. So I had to cut these nasturtium back, as you can see, because they were draping like a mop. It was just too big. So here I have, again, like I said, this is the chives and sweet alyssum planted. And I have some mocha peppermint, I think this is, my rosemary here. And then we enter into the okra area. So I started from seed, red Burgundy okra. These are planted in 7-gallon bags. They have been producing, actually the production has just geared up. For a minute I was concerned because I would get one here and there, but now for the most part they are producing really well. I love the color of the plant, the variation of on the leaves. I have 4 of these. Do I have 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I have 4 of the red Burgundy growing in their own bag. And then I have 2, is this emerald? I think these are emerald. 2 growing in, I want to say this is a 10-gallon bag. And what I did is I interplanted these with Purslane. I shared on my blog site that I am no longer doing lettuce. This herb has taken over the use of lettuce, spinach. It's almost like the perfect combination, and so we have this fresh with sandwiches. We have it, or I've had it stir fried lightly, like with quinoa, garlic, tomatoes. I love the flavor of it. It's really like a more intense version of spinach with a light lettuce type combination. And then the older the plant gets, it actually has a tanginess to it, almost giving this flavor like you've sprinkled a little like apple cider vinegar in it. But I love it. I love it. So I am going to be growing these regularly. And like I said, I originally just sprinkled seed, and I had planned to like take them out once they started germinating and kind of plant them all over, but they just took off, and I said, you know what, let's just leave you where you are. So that's what happened here. So those are the okra. So in all I have 6 okra growing. They're producing really well. This is my catnip, which came back from last year. This is some lemon balm, lemongrass, and here is my yard-long beans. This just started putting out flowers, and for a minute I was like, what's going on? It's not growing. And then it's like overnight it just took off. It just took off to the point where I'm like, I got to figure out where I'm like putting the vines now. So I actually started weaving some twine to the base of the deck, and I'm probably going to add a few more and maybe kind of have it go down the sides here. But these are the beans here. These are the first 2 beans, and they've actually gotten a lot bigger just in 24 hours because they weren't even this large yesterday. So yeah, these are my yard long beans. I did succession plant with I want to say Kentucky pole beans. I have 1 or 2 Kentuckys in there, and I also added a few more yard-long beans in the center to sort of take over when the ones on the outside start to get tired. But we have not, like I said, have not harvested any beans as of yet. These are still just flowering and setting the beans. So that is the dynamic there. These are my 2 blueberry bare roots that I started. I did not have big hopes or high hopes for these. This year is really more about root production, so I just keep these, you know, watered, and they receive sun. I've been spraying with a little bit of BT because I was dealing with just nibbling in the beginning. So, yeah. I had gotten a blackberry bare root, but that one did not make it. So oh, here, that's right, the Malabar. Okay, so I have a Malabar, which I'm glad to see it's finally beginning to take off, because I was concerned. I was like, oh my goodness, these plants have been sitting here. I did start these from seed, and they are now starting to take off. I did pull them out. Originally, I had them over in the corner there, and I think they weren't receiving enough sun. So I pulled them out here, and they seem to be starting to vine. So I saw a few gardeners talking about Malabar spinach being the plant to utilize if, you know, your spinach is a favorite and you can't get it to grow, obviously with the heat and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to trying these once they are large enough to begin harvesting. Okay, what else? I think I see an okra that needs to be harvested, but I will leave you another day. Okay, these are some black-eyed Susans. And I called myself planting some basil down here, but something down here really enjoys it because they have gotten nibbled up. And then over here, I actually want to make this area, I want to bring this down a little bit lower. I think it's too high. And I have hornets in here because this is the time of year that they come out. And they're huge. Oh my goodness. They're absolutely humongous. I think these are hornets. Anyway, these are my kale. I have to say that the curly kale has got to be my top performer out of all of the kale that I've grown. This kale grows through the winter. It grows through the snow. I mean, you name it, the heat. This has grown for me. I've not had any issues with this. Whereas with my collards, they kind of just get stationary. So I'm more or less waiting for the cool of autumn to settle in before I move, kind of do a transfer and switch these up to the deck and bring the other ones down when I pull the hot season plants. But these are my collards. I think these are Prizm collards. I think my Georgia, which I did sowed for last year, I think I eventually pulled those because they went to flower once spring, summer, the heat set in. So yeah, we have, this is the curly kale. In the back there I have 2 red Russian that literally have been sitting like this for, it has to be like weeks. It's just, you know, yeah. So, and then over here is my chard, which I'm just gonna assume that I'll be enjoying chard for the cold or cooler months because it's just not done it for me. And these are the Ford Hook Giant. They've been more dormant, just stationary. I've fed with fish fertilizer, all of the above, but they're, you know, I'm glad that they're here. They're here. Same thing in the back there. Those are the rainbow chard, the red, I think they're burgundy, whatever. Swiss chard. And then these are just some more collard greens here. So all of these I will be swapping out and putting these on the deck once the weather officially settles into the cooling of autumn. So that is the goal at this point. But this is the update. We are in, what is this, July 20th? I think it's July 20th. And this is where the garden is. So yeah, that is my update for the summer. Ooh, my goodness.